Hello everyone! So in this lesson, we will draw and paint a simple white cup based on the concept we learned in previous lessons to make it look very three-dimensional and a little bit more realistic. So just go to your kitchen and find a cup that is pretty much white so it'll be easier for you to see the light and shade. So let's begin drawing this cup by using a pen with permanent ink that is not water soluble. So I'm going to begin drawing on this side, right here. So again, I'm going to start drawing the top part of the cup. It is the shape of an ellipse. Right. And here we are. Body of the cup. The bottom is like curving around. Stops here. Here's the handle. Because there's a highlights, there's some breaks between your line. Same as here. I'm going to show the handle is also a 3D form by giving the thickness of it. Again, you can use broken lines instead of solid, straight or curvy lines. And on the bottom, there's a tiny right over here. So now let's do a quick review of the 3D surface of the cup. Alright, so that's the 3D form of a cup, of a typical cup. So when you're painting, it's pretty important to use your brush strokes following the surface curve of the cup instead of painting flat, because I know a lot of people when they paint, they tend to paint this way, flat. They're kind of like squishing the cup instead of following the curve like these. Alright, so I'll show you how in the way I paint this cup. So I'm going to start with a medium round brush. To make things easier, this time we'll use just black. And we'll mix different levels of grays to paint this cup. So again, you can start by playing with your black. So I'm going to try to add as little water as possible to my black paint. So this is my first one. Okay, quite dark. Darkest. This is pretty much black. And then I'm going to start adding a little bit of water to dilute it Okay, this is the second level. And then I'm gonna add some more water. Do it in here, okay? So that's the third level. And I'll add even more water. Here, there's a very light gray here. And kind of like washing my brush here, I'm gonna have like an almost white gray here. All right, so that's the different levels of grays you can have by adding more and more water to the black paint. So I'm gonna start painting my cup by wetting the surface first with some water. Not too much. You don't want to get the whole pool of water on here. Just kind of wetted it so the color will spread it out more easily. Right over here. All right. So I'm going to start painting the darkest part. So again, you can test it on your paper to see if this is the intensity you want. All right, that's pretty good. So just relax. So now I'm doing the first layer. Washing my brush so I can make the transition a little more easier. Sometimes the color flows around, it's a little bit hard to control, so the key is not having too much water on our brush. A little bit for the handle. I'm trying to use very thin lines here because there's highlight right here. So I'm going to leave it white because it's a highlight. Okay. And this is my first layer, and now I'm going to wait for it to dry a little bit before I add more darker tone here and here. So now I'm using a slightly smaller round brush just to add more intensity here for the shade. So again, I'm going to test it, get the intensity I want. Right. Here it is. Now this is the perfect time to start a second layer because the surface is not totally dry. As you see, there's like soft blending over here. It's very ideal. A little bit of water here. Do my blending. Nice and smooth transition. So make sure your brush is not too wet. So here, there's a shadow here from the handle. Just gonna add it right here. Like shadow from the handle. shade right here too. And again, the inside, this part is quite dark. Just gonna make it darker. Washing the brush so I can blend. Nice and soft. Same for the handle. See, this part is quite dark. Tiny little details here. So again, leave your highlights. Don't paint it. The highlight is just white. White of the paper. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at the bottom. Now let's do the rim. Okay, so there's highlight around here. It's pretty white here. Finish up the rim. So you have to use a round brush when you're painting a small space like a rim or edge or something. Right, leaving some highlights here. So now I'm gonna add the shadow for this cup. So since the light source comes from this way, the shadow should be somewhere around here, okay? On the opposite side. So I see it right there. So again, so I'm gonna kind of see it right over here. It's not a very dark shadow though. All right. And I am at the first one. Just put it on. Make it a little bit darker. There's a little blooming going on. It's very cool. So just leave it. Don't over blend it. Just let the blooming go. It's very natural. It's pretty. So now you know how to paint a basic cup that is white with black watercolor paint. So you're creating something with basic 3D forms. Okay, have fun making your own. So this is the end of this little lesson. So our assignment is find a cup in your kitchen that is white, or you can use a paper cup, and use black watercolors to paint. So first you can draw with your pen. Make sure it is permanent ink, or you can use a pencil to draw if you want, and use black watercolor paint to paint it. All right, I hope you have fun painting your cup. See you in the next lesson.